For generations, there's been this one central idea to the American dream. You buy a house, you work your tail off, and then one day you finally pay off that mortgage and you get to live worry-free. But here's the crazy part. What if that ultimate achievement, that thing you worked for your whole life, actually ends up being a trap? Let's dive into this really surprising conflict that's hiding inside the American dream for millions of retirees. This quote, it just hits you, right? It's from a recent retiree, and it just perfectly captures the whole issue. It's this feeling that more and more people are whispering about. They finally crossed the financial finish line, and they realize the prize isn't at all what they imagined. So what is really going on here?
All right, first up, let's just tear into this whole paid-off mortgage myth. It's all about the dream versus the cold, hard reality. It's this belief that, hey, once the bank is out of the picture, your housing costs just, poof, disappear. But as you're about to see, that couldn't be further from the truth.
Okay, here's the reality check. The mortgage might be gone, sure, but the bills are not. You've still got property taxes, and those almost always seem to go up, right? You've got insurance, constant maintenance, landscaping, and then there are the big ones, the ones that blindside you, like a surprise roof repair or the furnace deciding to quit in the dead of winter. The house might be paid for, but it is never ever done costing you.
And the cost isn't just about money, it's about your own personal energy. Think about it. Every single hour you spend mowing the lawn, or cleaning rooms no one uses anymore, or trying to find a reliable plumber, that's an hour you're not spending with your grandkids, or traveling, or just enjoying a hobby. Your greatest asset starts to demand your most valuable currency, your time and your energy.
So now, let's really get into it. Let's look at the numbers behind this pressure cooker with what we're calling the Great Property Tax Squeeze. Because this isn't just a vague feeling people have, it's a real, measurable financial crunch.
Now, to really get a handle on this, we're going to look at a government task force report from Maine. I know, you're thinking Maine? Why Maine? Well, stick with me here because the trends that this report found are actually happening all across the country. It's basically the perfect case study for a huge national problem.
Okay, brace yourself for this first number. In just 5 years, the median home sale price in Maine shot up by 73%. Just let that sink in. That means property values, which is what your tax bill is based on, they've just exploded. Now, keep that number in your head. Because here's the kicker. Over that exact same time, the median household income, it only went up by 36%. So you see the problem, right? The value of people's homes, and by extension their tax bills, grew at basically double the rate of what they were actually earning. That is the squeeze.
And listen to how the report itself puts it. It says that long-term homeowners, especially retirees on a fixed income, are basically house-rich and cash-poor. They're trapped living in an asset that they could never, ever afford to buy today, and they're really struggling to pay the ever-increasing taxes on it. So at the end of the day, what all this data shows is that this feeling of being trapped isn't just in people's heads. It's a widespread, documented economic trend, and it's seriously challenging that old dream of just aging in place in your paid-off home. All of this pressure is leading to this quiet but pretty massive shift in how we live. It's a trend that's basically taking a lifetime of conventional wisdom and just flipping it completely on its head.
So let me just ask you, if you had to guess the fastest growing group of renters in the country, who would you say? Millennials? Gen Z? I'm going to bet the answer is not what you think.
It's seniors. Yep. The very same generation that was taught to value homeownership above pretty much everything else. They are now the ones leading the charge toward renting. And we're not talking about a small change here. In just the last 10 years, the number of senior renters has jumped by 2.4 million. It's like this quiet revolution happening in retirement communities and apartment complexes all over the country. But this is the crucial part to understand. For most of these folks, this is not a story of failure. It's not about losing the house. It's a really deliberate, strategic choice to trade one version of the American dream for a totally different one, a version that's all about flexibility and freedom instead of permanence.
So what does this whole sell-to-rent thing actually look like in practice? Let's open up the playbook and really weigh the pros and cons.
Okay, on the pro side, you get this incredible flexibility. You can literally lock the door and travel for 3 months and not worry about a thing. You unlock a ton of tax-free cash from your home's equity, which gives you huge financial breathing room. And you can say goodbye to those surprise repair bills. But on the flip side, you're now at the mercy of rent increases. You're also spending down what is likely your biggest asset. And, let's be honest, there's a huge psychological hurdle to leaving a home that's just filled with decades of memories.
It is a trade-off, for sure. There's no one right answer for everybody.
And when you actually talk to the people who've made this switch, the money is only part of the equation. What they're really chasing is all this other stuff. They want less responsibility, more mobility, more flexibility. They want less maintenance and more energy to actually live their retirement, not just maintain a property. I read this great little story about a couple who sold the family home they'd been in for decades and started renting an apartment. And when someone asked them to describe the change, they just used one single word: freedom. Freedom from the yard work, freedom from the repairs, freedom to go visit their grandkids whenever they wanted. That's the real payoff they were looking for. And this all brings us to the final and I think maybe the most important question of all. What is your right size? It's time to shift this whole conversation away from just finance and towards freedom. There's this idea called right sizing, and it's not just about downsizing, getting a smaller place. It's about finding the right place, the right amount of space, the right location, the right level of responsibility for the person you are today, not the person you were 20 years ago. So when you boil it all down, the real goal isn't owning or renting. That's not the point. It's about alignment. Does the place you live actually align with your current goals, your energy levels, and what you want out of life?
This is really the question at the heart of everything. Is your home a stage for the future you want to build, or is it more like a museum for a past that you've already lived? And look, there's no judgment in that answer. There's just clarity.
And so we want to leave you with this final thought. Just for a second, forget what you were supposed to do, what everyone told you was the right path. The bravest thing you can do is just ask what you truly want. What kind of home supports the life you want to live, right here, right now? The answer? Well, it just might surprise you.